next presentation will be from my colleague, Dr. Peter Bärnreuther, who is the Chief Underwriting Officer of Chainproof, and he will talk about slashing risk.
Thank you. As Isabel already mentioned, I'm the Chief Underwriting Officer of Chainproof. In this presentation, I want to show some past incidents, what's happened, what mitigation strategies, and talk about insurance solutions. Is there somebody who has no idea about slashing and what it is? Okay, everybody has a basic understanding. The main risk, especially in Ethereum, is that we have validators who are validating the blockchain and they are running with the same keys. Because I just noticed we don't have any introduction slide on that one. So perhaps allow me one slide about Chainproof. I made it very quick. So Chainproof sees as a regulated insurance company, so more like a traditional insurance company who insures new risks. So we are insuring slashing risks. We, for example, have written policies with Luga nodes and with Kiln and smart contracts risk as well. You have some wonderful partners. One is Sompo, the second largest Japanese insurance, Munich Re, the world largest reinsurance companies, and Quanstems, the leading Web3 security partner. So, and we are profiting from the knowledge of all of these partners, and together we profit and bring it to the market within Chainproof. So what slashing events happened so far? I had to update this slide two days ago, because 2 days ago, 99 nodes were slashed. So when already everybody thought it's not a hot topic anymore, just 2 days ago, the largest slashing event ever happened. So nowadays, I think we are exactly at 400 slashing events, which happened in the last 3 years. Still not huge, but we are only like 3 years in the run. And the network is currently running 800 validators. So if we want to have some probability of a slashing event that are certain validators slashed, if we looked at it, we have like 440 ETH were lost at these slashing events, divided by 3 years, divided by 200 validators, we get a very small number. And when we're talking to node operators about insurance, they always argue, well, nothing happens. So why we should pay basically more than a very small percentage. And this would, for mid-sized node operator, be perhaps 1,000, 2,000 euros. You can imagine if you go to insurance company and say, I want to insurance about 100 million assets under staked, and I'm prepared to pay 2,000, it's not gonna happen. So let's review how the insurance companies views this, is looking into this problem, and about past incidents and some challenges which we have. So we are looking basically if we are insuring risks. There are basically 2 scenarios. The first scenario, we have a lot of data. For example, car insurance, we have data since 40 years, where we, of course, we have to adjust them. There are no more electric cars. There's with climate change less snow. But in the end, we have very good data, and it's more about the details to get it right. In comparison with new risks, and one mental model to try to capture these kinds of new risks is to separate it into 3 different buckets. We have the basis losses. These are the losses which are not really relevant but happen very often. Then we have the large losses, which is really a substantial loss. Yeah, this would be like one node operator gets heavily slashed. We as an insurer, we would then have to pay out basically the full sum insured or a very large amount for us. And then we have the catastrophic losses, where basically the whole Ethereum network breaks down, or let's say 10, 20, 30% of all validators get slashed, which is basically a catastrophic event. And from an insurance point of view, probably all our policies would lose. We would have a loss at all of these policies. But can these really happen? Is always the question, these large losses and catastrophic losses. I mean, they never happen. Or did they? I don't know. But no, they happened. Not many people know about it because the impact was then slow, but we were very close. And I want to discuss about some cases of these. The first one is, it's already like 3 years ago, where at this time there was only the Prism validator, and it had a bug. Basically, it calculated the time, which is as an average of 6 different sources, and one of the sources was off by 1 day. So it was basically running 4 hours delayed, and so the Prism validator got confused, and there were much less attestations as there should be. A hotfix was introduced with a team, and this hotfix contained a bug so that over 3,000 validators were slashed, luckily for everybody on the testnet. So it was a testnet run case, but it's not, you cannot say that this can not happen on mainnet. An example 2, I think this is a very typical example. One node operator tried to improve his setup to get basically 100% of the attestation rate. Usually the uptime is more like 99.5%. He wanted to get to 100. He as well tested all the changes in the canary environment, but at production in the mainnet, it behaved differently. And these validators, they restarted much more quickly. And since they had the Prism slashing prevention database disabled, never a good idea, to be honest, these validators sent a second version of the same block. You had the double signing event and then got slashed. More than 100 ether lost. So 200,000, you can argue this is already quite a loss. All of these examples and even more are at our blog. So I selected here 6 examples. At our blog, I think it's 9 or 10 examples. So if you're interested in more examples, check out our website. An interesting one here as well, again on a testnet, luckily, but a fuzzer, so somebody who tries to break the network, created 2 invalid blocks, so 2 blocks which should be not accepted by the beacon clients, but it was. And so the network split into 3 parts. Yeah, on the testnet, not critical, but on the mainnet, this would basically destroyed Ethereum is a hard word, but basically you would have 3 different canonical chains, and then there must, it's tough to get a real consensus out of it. 4th example, this is was an interesting one, which just happened like half a year ago, that validator key at the duplication of validity keys in 2 different active clusters caused here a slashing event of 11 validators. So it was a Lido validator where the quality is usually really high. And this was a really strange bug, even in the postmortem. It's tough to understand it. But basically they deleted it, they deleted the keys, they rebooted it, and somehow there was a strange interaction with a validator client, so that they re-imported these keys again, and then basically the 2 times the key was online, and these led to the slashing events. The last 2, this is a crazy one, because somebody, and I don't know if it was an external attack, like a DDoS attack on the Ethereum network, or it was purely by accident, suddenly the network was flooded by attestations which were correct but very old. And 3 out of the 4 major Ethereum clients had to recomputate a lot of beacon states. And this was needed a lot of computational powers, so that they suffered from resource exhaustion due to these expensive operations, and they could not fulfill the requests of the validator clients in a timely manner. So basically, 3/4 of the networks were off, and Ethereum went into league mode. It was only short, and through this quadratical formula, not much ETH was lost, but we really had already a league mode where Ethereum could not finalize for, I don't know, 1 hour or 2 hours, which is a critical event for you, Ethereum. Last one, I think as well a typical setup. You have a primary system, you have a secondary system, your primary system went down. Again, Lido operator just last month, they brought up the fallback system, and the fallback system had a Web3 signer, but this hadn't enabled a slashing protection database. Is here 20 ETH slashed, and I'm looking forward to the postmortem from the event which just happened like 2 or 3 days ago, where we will then know more why 100 validator were slashed. So perhaps back to our insurance mindset. These basis losses, this can be configuration error from smaller staker, home staker, as well node operator who have are very quick in monitoring, seeing I'm getting slashed after 2 ETH, I'm shutting down my whole network. I think we have a good understanding of them because there were like 150 events. So one might be able to insure it, but it doesn't make sense because it's just not a financial impact for the node operators. So we are really interested in the large losses and catastrophic losses. In the large losses, examples of these would be operational failure, external hacks, or steals validating keys. We had just had this in Marco's talk. An internal employee goes through. And I would argue it happened like 5 times in the last 3 years, so they really happen. But until now, we were a little bit lucky. It was only like low to medium severity. I would argue you can that there are 2 medium events already. And then we have the catastrophic losses like validator, software bugs, execution blind bugs, failure of the whole underlying Ethereum network, DVT, distribution validator technology, question mark, could introduce new risks, overloading consensus with Eigenlayer, question mark, I have to make my own research there, leak mode. I would argue here as well that several events happened, nothing either with low severity, not many ether were lost, but definitely is a risk there. So these basis losses, we basically calculated the percentage here. I didn't update it. And now the big question for us, of course, how large are the large losses and catastrophic losses, and how often do they happen? And of course, nobody knows. But what can we do better? Or where we, as an insurance industry, where we have to learn more. We have to, where we have to learn. And the challenges are high technical complexity, even for cyber underwriter, even if you're very deep in the system, these DBT solutions and so on, it's really complex. The data quality is generally good, but the data quantity, it's just not there with 3 years. And a challenge is as well the accumulation risk. If we put in leak mode in every our policies, then and there's a leak mode event, we have this catastrophic event that we have to pay out in all our policies. We have to avoid that. Same with software bugs, validators clients, execution clients, and of course the failure of the underlying Ethereum network. But how to overcome these challenges now? Mitigate slashing risk and get the insurance costs down. So data is a good point because it will improve over time. So in 3 or 5 years, we will have much more data, as well technical improvements. So DVT, even if more research is necessary, and I would like to see the results from testnet and mainnet. There will be technical improvements, and we will get down the slashing risk. Insurance specifics, I think we still have to exclude this catastrophic risk with leak mode. There's just no way around it. And we always need alignment of interest to self-insured retention, loss participation. I think this is just standard clausula. What can node operators do, or what we really like to see? Of course, that they're doing an awesome job at the infrastructure setup. Node operators have in general as well to help us in the education. We like to see this ISO and SOC 2 certification. We like as well to see specialized slashing specific infrastructure audit, especially from QuantStamp. And then following specialized slashing prevention best practices. For example, there's a great initiative in NIDO, which is called DUC, and our next talk will be exactly about that.
Thank you, Peter. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Thanks for the great talk. At the beginning, what I liked was the quantification about how many slashing is happening. So how, like you from a Chainproof and a chief underwriting officer, how are you trying to shape a policy if they come to you? On what kind of dimensions are you looking, for example, to quantify policy?
You might mean to quantify the risk, or?
Yes.
Yeah. So we basically rely on an infrastructure audit done by our partner QuantStamp, who's looking exactly. So within smart, perhaps a little bit about the difference between smart contract audit and infrastructure audit. In a smart contract audit, it has 1,000 lines. So you can go through every line by line and then decide, is the smart contract secure or not? Infrastructure always changes. And you never can basically audit, or it would be extremely challenging to audit the whole infrastructure. So we build automatic scanners who basically, I would say, cover like 50, 60%. And if you see that their setup is really great, they did their Docker Kubernetes setup in the right manner, they set all the right flags, then usually you can already determine, okay, the team is very, very good. And we have seen basically both sides, very, very good audits and not so good audits. And then you already know if the whole team behind them is making a good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the talk. I liked basically the cases you mentioned and how you think about those risks. Have you had some protocols, actually like some DeFi protocols, approach you about explicitly insuring them as well? From my understanding, like your main clients are probably funds or basically some big stakers. But if this was also on the table, if you're...
You mean in slashing insurance?
Yes,
yeah.
Slashing insurance, like
yeah.
overall staking insurance.
Yeah, we
usually
talk with node operators because we anyway want to know them. We want to do so the best clients for us are always node operators who are asked by their clients to get insurance. I mean, insurance is costly, so why should you buy it? Because you get more business, that's the answer. So, and usually node operators, there are some node operators who specifically want to have institutional money, and every institution has a compliant officer who then asks, do you have insurance? And if your answer is no, it's a little bit difficult for them. So basically this is the main motivation for them to buy insurance, that they get more business from institutional clients.
Okay, thank you. So it's operators is not really any protocols. There are no like risk focused DeFi protocols. I mean, like LSD protocols or staking protocols?
For I mean, the problem which we have, for example, with Lido, I mean, we would
Yeah.
insure Lido, but they have like 37 different operators currently. And from our mindset, we would have to make an audit at every 37 of them. But there as well liquid staking protocols with like only 5 node operators, where it's much more realistic. Yeah? Because in principle, we like it. It's a diversified risk by itself. So we are eager to do it, but yeah, it's more complicated than doing it with a single node operator.
Thank you.
We have to make our mind up. So the question was, there are like initiatives like Eigenlayer, where you can then use your staked ETH to restake and give security to another chain or protocol. We will have to think, it will increase the risk, but since the return is as well increased for the restakers, they can as well pay a little bit more. We have to make up our mind. Since Eigenlayer is not live yet, so in my understanding, we still have a little bit time, but this will be a hot topic, yeah. Sure. We are basically doing slashing insurance not only for Ethereum, but as well for Cosmos and Polkadot. And yeah, we are always eager to try new things and explore here.